About both, I feel. Although with the Street Fighter one, it's more pressing because I want to determine what we're going to do in the future with fighting games. I'd like to get your opinions. But before we get to that, Baldur's Gate 3, Session 3. So now we're hitting 9 hours into the game. Happened yesterday. And I would say I'm starting to get the hang of certain things. Right now, the thing that's the most challenging for me is understanding the lore and the universe and the way things work because I've never done D&D stuff ever. I don't even understand these groups. Like, I'm serious. I don't know. I've never heard of tieflings before. Lae'zel, whatever her, I can't even remember what her race is called. Like, they look like orcs to me, but I guess they're not. So I'm trying to wrap my head around a whole new universe I'm being introduced to. I've never done anything D&D related before, and it is tricky to try to understand everything because I'm like, oh, look, the demon people. And people are like, no, they're not demons. They're half devil spawn or something. And I'm like, huh? Like, what? You know, oh, I'll take your word for it, I guess.
So yes, we're now 9 hours into Baldur's Gate 3, and we are still complaining, of course. But one of the biggest issues that he seems to be having, at least according to him, is that he doesn't understand how D&D works, and he doesn't understand the universe that it takes place in. Which, like, I totally understand. If you don't look into D&D, if you don't play D&D, you're not going to know anything about the universe unless you go out of your way to, like, watch lore videos or something. But Baldur's Gate 3 does a very good job of introducing you to the world and giving you the general ideas and then allowing you to piece it together. It's not very obfuscated at all. And specifically the thing that he's talking about, these devil spawn or whatever, the tieflings, they're a large chunk of the beginning of the game, and they get explained to you rather thoroughly if you just talk to all of the people and listen to what they have to say. And to add to that, there's a companion that is a tiefling and has a lot of lore behind her that's not that far out of this area that he's in, where he can talk to that companion and get all of the story and understand it on a deeper level. But because he takes so long to actually get anywhere in the game, and he's only 9 hours in now and he hasn't done jack shit, I can imagine that it'll be another 3 or 4 parts before he even finds that companion. It really shouldn't take him that long. If he was a normal style streamer, he should have found her already, at least by part 3. But like I said, Baldur's Gate 3 does a very good job of introducing you to the world and the universe, and they give you all of the tools that you need to understand. DSP is just incapable of learning things on the fly, despite him saying that that's what he wants to be able to do.
And then as I'm leveling up, I'm getting all these new spells and abilities, and I absolutely need input on that stuff. I mean, no exaggeration, I hit, I think, level 3 or 4 with my characters yesterday, and they're like, oh, level 2 spells are now available. Here's 12 of them, pick. I'm like, 12? Usually in any game, you get like 1 or 2 choices. It's like choice between 12 different customization options. How on earth am I supposed to know, you know, what's good here?
And I kind of touched on this in a previous video when we talked about Baldur's Gate 3. I said that Baldur's Gate 3 is a fairly simple game if you let it be, but him picking a spellcaster was the wrong option for his playstyle because it is just a little more complicated. Specifically when you get into different levels of spells and swapping your spells in and out via the spellbook menu. Again, for a normal style player, or at least a normal style streamer even, it's not a big deal that there's a lot of options to pick from and a lot of different ways that you can take your build. Most people enjoy having the option to play different ways and have different spells to choose from. But DSP can't be bothered because he can't be bothered to read and he can't be bothered to actually try things and figure it out for himself. He just needs the chat to continue to handhold him like always. And if you ask me, that completely defeats the purpose of playing the game at all. It's like getting into a Souls game and then just immediately asking your friend to send you a build so that you can copy that, and that's the only weapon and build that you use for the entire game. Like, that's not fun. Why don't you try something out? But of course, that's the exact kind of gameplay that DSP wants. He's not interested in having his own experience and trying things out and having fun. He's totally willing to just play however somebody tells him how to play, as long as they continue to send him money.
So you guys are helping me tremendously. I just want to let you know again, I've said this before, the reason I think this playthrough is enjoyable to me and you is because of the interaction. If I were playing this game for myself, it wouldn't be that good, or I probably wouldn't like it. I'm not the kind of guy that wants to sit down and study to play a video game. I play a video game to kind of relax and immerse myself in a fantasy world, but one that's easy to jump into, right? I don't want to have to do hours of research or prerequisite knowledge of anything. I just want to play it.
But you can 100% do that. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. You don't need to do hours of prerequisite research in order to have fun in the game. You could just play it, read the descriptions of the things, and have a good time doing it. You don't have to be as optimized as possible in order to have a good time or even play the game to any extent. You can just brute force your way through if you want to. If that's how you want to play, you absolutely can. But because DSP picked a spellcaster, he does have to know just a little bit more information, and he's just not willing to take the time to learn anything. He just wants to be handheld.
You guys are here and you're explaining these missing gaps to me and allow me to understand things. Giving me recommendations for new spells and stuff is tremendous. It helps a lot. So I want to say thank you for that. I think that's why I'm having the fun that I'm having so far with the game. If I was just sitting here offline playing, I probably would hate this game. Or if there was no stream, if it was just me doing on-demand videos of it, I probably wouldn't like this game, just being honest, okay?
And I'm sure that other streamers feel this way about other games. I'm sure that there are people who play video games for their stream, and it is fun only because they're on stream, and it's not really a game for them anyway. But it's such a weird thing to say to people. I don't know if you should be expressing that to your audience. I get being transparent. I get being honest with them. But that just seems like such a toxic and negative style thing to say. Oh, if you guys weren't here, I wouldn't like this game. This game sucks without you guys. I hate it. Like, dude, come on. I know those weren't the exact words he used. I know. But that's what he's saying.
Now, truth is, all right, Stream 3, pretty much exactly as I was expecting is happening. Let me give you some perspective here. And let me, just so you know, this is not the end of the world, nor is it a harsh criticism of the game at all.
Oh yeah, you knew we were gonna get this segment eventually. The DSP was right the whole time and everybody else is stupid segment. Yeah, we're getting that right now. Because just like every single game that DSP plays and every playthrough that he has, the views are going down because he's just not interesting to watch. I mean, I'm sure there's a host of other reasons why people have left between part 1 and part 3, but the common denominator is just that DSP sucks, really.
Stream 1, we had over 1,000 viewers the entire stream, right? High engagement, high support. Crazy support. But that was kind of to be expected.
The absolute gall that you have to sit there and say that you expected that level of support on the first day stream of Baldur's Gate 3 is insane. This is a dude who frequently doesn't hit his tier 1 tips goal of $50. But he's talking about the Baldur's Gate 3 stream hitting $250+ and he's saying that it was expected. What an absolutely ungrateful pig roach, dude.
Stream 2, which was a few days ago. We had around 600 to 700 viewers for the whole stream. Great engagement, good support. Yesterday, we're down to 400 viewers on this stream now, but still great engagement and still good support. Okay? I'm the kind of guy, I don't care about viewership. I want to reiterate this, okay? I don't care about views on the stream. I don't care about views on the on-demand videos. All I care about is if I'm having a good time, you're having a good time. Because of that, we're having the good engagement. And yes, because of that, support comes with it so that I can maintain a business. That's what I care about.
So that's him straight up telling you he doesn't care how many people show up. As long as the support is there in the form of money entering his PayPal account, we're good. That's fine. There could be 10 people on a DSP stream, and as long as each one of them sends him $10, he's good with it. He doesn't care how many people are there as long as he's getting the money. Because that's what's important to the guy. It's always been about the money. No passion, no interest, just money.
Okay? So even if this went down to 100 viewers per stream, I still wouldn't care as long as we still have the level of engagement and some support like we've been getting. I'm happy. All right? And I want to make that abundantly clear. But within 3 streams, 9 hours, we're already seeing this trend with this game.
But whose fault is that, DSP? Is it your fans' fault? Or is it your fault? Because even though people showed up for the first stream, you told them that they would have to wait an additional 2 days to see you continue to play the game. And that's before we even talk about how long it took you to actually do anything in the game. Because they just talked about it today on That Being Said, shoutouts, that 71% of that first stream, I believe is the exact number that was recorded, but 71% of that stream is you giving shoutouts or begging for money. That means just under a quarter of the actual stream was any sort of gameplay. And yes, those things are mutually exclusive because it is DSP and he can't play the game and give shoutouts at the same time. Let me explain this in a way that you might understand, DSP. And for all my audio style listeners, I have a visual gag for this. So if you're interested, just look at the screen. Because it's finally time for Atlas the Sandwich Keeper to make his first real appearance. So let's say you had a sandwich shop, right? And everybody wanted to come in for that goddamn chicken parm that you were talking about. People love it. People are eating it up. They can't get enough of it. They want They want to eat the sandwich 2 times a day even. Now imagine telling the people who want to eat that chicken parm sandwich twice a day for an entire week that they can't have another chicken parm sandwich for another 2 days. I would imagine that anybody who's clamoring for a product like that, so much so that they want it twice a day for multiple hours at a time, that after being told that they can't receive it for multiple days, that they would just go somewhere else to get an equally better, if not a better product. Compound that with the fact that you spent 71% of the time they were in your restaurant either begging for more money or shouting out everybody who paid you, instead of actually making the sandwich and giving it to the people that paid for it. That's what you've done to Baldur's Gate 3. So it's really no wonder that less than half of the people who showed up for the first stream are still continuing to watch you. So it's not the audience or viewers' fault, DSP, it's entirely yours. You are maybe even intentionally running this game into the ground with your poor decision-making skills.
And this is what I was afraid was going to happen, and here's why. Currently, I'm playing games like RoboCop, Like a Dragon Gaiden, Street Fighter 6, which we'll talk about in a moment, Modern Warfare 3. These are the other games in my rotation, okay? A lot of these games are kind of hit or miss. There's a day sometimes when I play RoboCop and it goes well, and there's other days when it's kind of slow. Not a lot of people are coming by. Don't know why. Same game, still fun, but,
This dude is so detached from reality if he thinks that people have actually every single day to tune into his streams. Dude, these people are probably busy. They probably work on certain days and not on others. That's why they wouldn't be able to show up, because they actually have to go to work for the money that they give to you. Unlike you, who sits on your ass all day long with nothing but free time to do whatever you want, whenever you want. It's just entitlement to think that people are going to show up to every single one of your streams every single day to watch the game just because you're there. People have lives, DSP. Their entire life doesn't revolve around the internet, typically.
Like a Dragon Gaiden is meant to be a late night chill stream. I don't expect much out of that game. That's supposed to be the game that I know will not do great performance, but it's more for us to just have a relaxing social atmosphere rather than focus on a game that's performing well. That's the one that's allowed to kind of not be great. It's not a big deal.
And this is just more bad decision making. If you have games in your schedule that just aren't doing well, that people aren't nearly as interested in supporting or engaging with, why are you continuing to play them? I'm not going to don the whole get up again, but if you have a sandwich on the menu that is just not selling, why do you continue to have it on the menu at all? Because every once in a while somebody's going to come in and want it? Is it really worth taking up real estate on your menu for that one person that's coming in every once in a while? And in that same vein, is it really worth taking up all that time on your streams for a game that maybe a handful of people enjoy and everybody else is groaning about? These are the decisions that DSP is making that is actively ruining his streams. If you're really into Like a Dragon that much and the streams just aren't doing well, you need to be playing them offline, dog. That is the answer. If there's things that your audience just doesn't want to see, that they don't like, you need to play it offline for yourself.
Street Fighter 6 also hit or miss. Some nights we have tremendously great nights, and other nights not so much. We've been having a lot of issues with the game recently, hitting master rank and having the connections be terrible. We're going to talk about that in a moment.
Spoiler alert, despite his final Street Fighter stream, quote unquote, going very poorly, so much so that he was hitting his stick at one point very violently, he is going to continue to play it at least for one more stream. I cannot express this enough. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Modern Warfare 3 also started off very strong when I played it back in November when it came out, and then over the course of November it went like this, where people cared less and less, stopped showing up, stopped engaging, stopped supporting, and then I started playing Warzone, and that lasted 2 streams, and the second stream I got a third place placement. And immediately people were like, okay, we're bored of this already. Go back to multiplayer. I was like, really?
Yeah, that's because your Battle Royale streams are the most boring shit possible. I mean, you really spend a large majority of the time looting and looking at the floor. Not exactly the best gameplay on the planet. And when you're not doing either of those two things, you are actively avoiding as many players as possible. Because you prefer to just like camp in a closet instead of actually get into gunfights. And look, if that's your preferred way to win, I get it. That's fine. Play however you want. But DSP is a streamer. He's supposed to be entertaining his audience. So hanging out in a closet the entire game is not going to do that. It's not going to be entertaining. He needs to actually go out and play the game.
So with Modern Warfare 3, we have some flexibility. We can do Warzone, we can do multiplayer, we can do whatever people want on demand, which is great, but it's also kind of all over the place. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's not. So you see, what the point I'm making here is when you look at all the other games I'm playing, there's really nothing there that's mainly consistently performing well.
Yeah, it's almost like all of those streams have a common denominator. There's just something in common between all of them that is making it just not perform as well as it probably should be. I wonder what that is. I guess the world will never know, huh?
It's not like we're in the midst of 5 good big game playthroughs, out of which 4 are amazing games that are hot new releases and everyone cares about. It's kind of like, everything might perform, might not perform, people might show up, they might not show up, and there's nothing that can really be done about that. We're at the end of the year.
But this is why people constantly tell you that you shouldn't be relying as heavily on the games as you do, that you should work on being more entertaining. You should work on engaging with your audience so much so that they want to come back to experience whatever you're doing. Because you notice when he's talking about why these games aren't doing good, he's like, oh, it's not like we have 5 major playthroughs and 4 of them are good. And they're new, and that's what people are talking about. Why aren't people coming around to just watch you play any old game, DSP? Because that's where the real money is. That's how all of these other streamers continue to make buku dollars that you are not making. It's because people come by for their personalities day in and day out because they don't want to miss a moment with their favorite streamer. I think the day that you realize that and actually put some sort of effort into making that a reality might be the day that you can actually start saving your dying channel. But until that day comes, you stand no chance of saving your channel. You will just continue to decline and become more and more irrelevant every single year. And the only thing that you'll have at the end of the day will be your legacy. And that's not exactly something that I would be holding on to and bragging about.
When you're at the end of the year, there's nothing really major coming out, so this is kind of what happens, okay? With Baldur's Gate 3, ultimately what happens is this now is the game on which a lot is hinging. This is the game that's supposed to be the staple playthrough. And quite frankly, that's the feedback I've received from you, is that you want Baldur's Gate 3 to be my most played game right now. People who love this game are saying we want at least 3 streams a week. If you can do more than that, great. But 3 streams a week, please. We want that much of it. We want that progress. If you don't immerse yourself in the world that much, basically it's not worth it. And we're not going to get out of it what we want.
But people were telling you to do this before you started playing the game, and then they continued to say this to you through the entire first stream and then after. But you got on stream the very next day and told them that you were not going to play the game as much as they wanted to see it because that's just not how you do things, and you're a variety style streamer. And that you wanted to be loyal to all of the people who made you what you were, as if those very same people were not the people that were asking you to continuously play Baldur's Gate 3. Even Jade was telling you straight in the chat that you were being wrong about it and that you should continue to play Baldur's Gate 3 like people were asking.
I've already got 2 different people who over the first few days of me playing the game said, we like the playthrough, but we're not patient. We don't want to wait. Thanks for the playthrough. And they even tipped, but then they said, goodbye, we're not going to stick around. I get that, but that's the kind of streamer I am. I'm a variety guy. That's why I succeed. That's why I have over 600 members, despite the fact I don't usually have 600 viewers on a stream.
Oh, is that the reason that you have over 600 members but don't have 600 viewers on pretty much any of your streams? It's because you're a variety style guy and you run a successful business? It has nothing to do with the fact that these whales come through every once in a while and give 50 free memberships away, right? No, that's completely unrelated. How could I even talk about that? What a waste of time that was. But speaking of that, I think it's very funny every time that he comes back from his day off and a bunch of memberships have expired because they couldn't be re-upped on his day off. Because you can't give memberships if a stream isn't live. So you can pretty much guarantee that all of the memberships that were lost were specifically from free memberships being handed out during a stream, which couldn't again happen because he wasn't live. But obviously that's unrelated and irrelevant, so I apologize for even bringing that up. I just thought it was a little funny.
This is why I have a successful business, because I spread myself out so that way I get different viewerships for different games, right? People who are here for the podcast right now may or may not stick around for RoboCop. People who are here for RoboCop may or may not be here for the Like a Dragon stream tonight. Maybe those people will or won't be there for my React show tomorrow, and maybe a whole new audience comes in for Modern Warfare 3 on Sunday night. And that's the point I'm making. And it works.
But that's definitely not how your audience works, DSP. You're delusional if you think that it is. That's why when these games start to fizzle out and become irrelevant, you have about the same number of viewers that you always have. You do have a core viewer base. Even if I think that their opinion is stupid and that they should go find a better content creator, they still like hanging around you for some reason. It's only like 200 or 300 people, and a bunch of them are LARPers. But you have a core viewer base, and you should be doing what those people are asking you to do. There's not an ever-revolving door of viewers that are constantly coming and going depending on the genre of game that you're playing. That's just not the case, and I really don't know who put it in your head that it is. I'll be fair to you and say, sure, maybe some of them do that. Like Jade and Derek will outright tell you if they don't like a game and they'll be back for the night stream if it's a different game or whatever. Yeah, those people do exist, but it's not a majority. It's definitely not over 50%. I would say it's about a handful.
Okay, that formula absolutely works. It's been proven to work. So anyway, I'm a little concerned. Why? because of this curve that I'm seeing with Baldur's Gate 3.
That's 2 downward slope hand graphs in the same video. What a maniac. I'm a huge fan of the hand graphs that DSP does, so that's a real treat. Never give specific numbers. He always wants to tell you, oh, it was here and now it's here. I had this much money and then I had this much money. And I know you couldn't see any of my hand graphs that I was actively doing during this recording, but that's the whole point, is there's no specifics and it doesn't actually matter. They're just useless.
Now, what I'm hoping is that it's not going to continue to do this. It's going to finally plateau. And as long as it plateaus, and we get a consistent group that comes by every time I play Baldur's Gate 3, and they're here to engage and support and have a good time with me, I'm fine.
Holy shit, dude. 4 separate hand graphs in one video? We're really eating good today. But really, the whole point of all of those graphs was him saying what I said earlier, that as long as people continue to give him the same amount of money that he expects, he doesn't care how many people show up. He doesn't care about the views. Just make sure that he hits his goals like he wants to. I don't know why it takes him so long to say these things. If he just got more to the point, it'd be more respectable. Just be upfront about your begging at this point, DSP. Quit trying to obfuscate it. Quit trying to be sneaky about it. Because it's one thing to just be a scummy guy. It's an entirely different thing to be scummy and sneaky about it.
I don't care. I'm happy then. That's all I ask. So let's hope that it plateaus. Let's hope that it wasn't, oh, the hype of him playing Game of the Year after not playing it for so long. Okay, he's continuing to play the game and learn. It's not that interesting anymore. Oh, now he's just playing an RPG. No one cares. And then it goes down here. Then, you know, because this happened before. That's exactly what happened with Divinity Original Sin 2. At first, people were excited. And then over the course of 20 hours, 30 hours into the game, they stopped caring. And by 40, 50 hours, they didn't even want to see it anymore.
And I'm going to say this every time that he brings up Divinity Original Sin 2. That's just not my understanding of what happened. I heard that you were doing very well and that the game was continuously making good support on the streams. Which shouldn't even be relevant because they already prepaid for the game. It was part of a patron's choice. They paid for you to play that game all the way through no matter what. And you just didn't do that. So as far as I'm concerned, there's no excuse for you to quit the game. But as soon as one of your biggest whales told you that it was okay if you wanted to quit, you absolutely took the chance to get the hell out of there and cash out on the easy money for not actually having to finish the game that they paid for. So I guess big ups OIC for that. Really gave us some gold that we can use against DSP for the rest of history. But from the way that DSP talks about playing Baldur's Gate 3 and comparing it constantly to Divinity, I think that's what he really wants to happen. I think that he wants to make as much money as he can, very first thing when he starts the game, just like he has been, and then as soon as he just gets bored and he can just artificially say that it's not enough, he's going to quit the game. I don't even see him getting to Act 2. Honestly, I'm surprised he made it this far. I said I give it 4 streams and he's done his 3rd one already. Maybe there'll be egg on my face, but there's for sure 0 way that he's beating this game.
And this is apparently a 100+ hour game. So I'm enjoying, I'm learning. All right, I am. And I feel like, again, we can keep that momentum going. Please show up for the streams. Please engage with me. That is the key to enjoyment right now, is us having that good time together, you helping me with the lore, helping me understand new gameplay mechanics. Like,
he's just asking people to continuously come by and hold his hand so that he can maintain enough progress that people are going to continue to tip him. That's all that's happening there. Hey guys, make sure that you come out to the streams and handhold me so that I don't actually have to play the game, but I can continue to get paid as if I am. I don't see how the Dents don't have a problem with this. I don't know why more people aren't calling him out on this in his chat. It's just not good behavior.
Yesterday, here, let's listen to this. There's a gameplay mechanic where you could talk to dead people. So someone dies, but you could talk to them and try to find out what was going on before they were dead. So I do it once, and it won't let me do it again. Okay, I wonder why it won't let me do it again. It's weird. So someone says you can do it again, but because you're playing on console, you have to go to your actions wheel, open up another menu that says set actions, and you have to set a separate action, not talk to the dead, but recast talk to the dead. And you have to put that as a new action on your wheel, and then your main character can recast the spell. You can't just cast it from the same icon. You have to make a second action icon on your radio in order to do this.
Yo, I can't speak to this. I don't play on console. It sounds like a console issue if you ask me. Probably should have just played it on the platform that would have been the most easy to understand, and that's unfortunately for you, DSP, on the PC. If it really is that complicated, that sucks. I don't think it should have been designed like that. But I can't speak on it because that's not been my experience. I don't play on console. At the same time though, when you have to map all of those binds and all of those different menus on a controller, yeah, things are gonna get pretty complex pretty quickly. You don't have nearly the amount of buttons.
And as I'm doing this, people watching the stream genuinely are like, I've played this game 3 times and didn't know that. I thought you literally could only cast a spell once and then you had to rest. So you see, like, people are teaching me things during the game. That's critical. That's important stuff to know that a lot of people probably don't even know because the game doesn't explain shit. I'm sorry if a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
No, and plenty of people will tell you that you're wrong in this instance. The game does a great job explaining a plethora of information to you. You just have to take the time to actually read it and care enough to explore all of the menus and, again, read the things that it's showing you. Just going into menus and looking at them isn't enough, DSP. You actually have to process the information. You actually have to have some sort of curiosity for the game that you're playing and be interested in it enough that you would go out of your way to look into the things so that you can understand the very basic mechanics of the game.
This game is just like Dark Souls. It's its own isolated universe, and it doesn't try to teach you shit.
Oh my god, this game is just like Dark Souls, you guys. It's its own isolated universe. Completely forget about all of those other Dungeons and Dragons games that have come out. Don't talk about those. Don't look at those. This game's completely unique in every single way except in comparison to Divinity Original Sin 2, in which case it plays kind of just like that. With obviously tweaks here and there because it's a different rule set in Dungeons and Dragons instead of, you know, Divinity. But it's just like Dark Souls. And I like that a game being like Dark Souls now just means that they didn't expressly explain something to you in a way that DSP could understand it. It has nothing to do with actual difficulty anymore. Being compared to a Souls game is so watered down at this point, it's actually nothing.
Even though there's little tutorials, the tutorials are not sufficient to truly understand anything. You need to play it for yourself, and you need to study or read a guide or watch someone else play to learn the intricacies of the engine. That's just how it is, and that's okay. This is not me harshly criticizing the game in any way. I'm just saying that's the kind of game it is.
But it's just not, DSP. You are lying. You are continuously saying the exact same thing over and over again, and it's just a lie. The game does a great job explaining things to you. So much so that when we talked about this on my channel, there was plenty of comments of people saying, I've never played a Dungeons and Dragons game. I've never played a turn-based RPG in this style. I've never played Divinity Original Sin 2. And within the first couple hours, I had a pretty good grasp on all of the mechanics, and anything that I had a question about, I could just go into the menus and read about and get a great understanding of that as well.
Once you learn those intricacies, now the game's probably super fun. But you need to know them. If you don't know them, you're missing out on a lot of shit. And that's kind of the thing. And I know for some people, you know, that's not their forte or whatever. Oh, Phil's hand is being held. Well, do you know what kind of game I'm playing? You know, this is not a fucking action platformer where someone's telling me, oh, the hidden coin is behind that bush, go grab it, before I even look for it. This is a game where you need help to have a good time with it if it's your first time playthrough, honestly, or else you're having a rough time and it's just not that fun. It's frustrating.
And that shows you how little enjoyment and passion he has for video games at this point. He's not interested in any sort of experimentation. He's not interested in coming up with his own builds or being creative in any way, shape, or form. He says it's not like it's a platformer and somebody is telling me that the secret coin is around the wall or whatever. No, DSP, it's so much worse because this is a game that really thrives off of you being creative and doing your character the way that you want to do your character. And all you've done is just ask people, guys, what spell should I pick? What dialogue choice should I pick? That takes all of the fun out of everything in this game. If you are not making your own decisions, if you are not building the character how you want to build your character, you might as well just not play the game, man. It really is that simple. And look, build guides have their places, especially in a game like this. If you want to do a second run and you want to accomplish specific things and you want to do a specific play style and you want to optimize it, that's great. That's where build guides really should come in handy. But to do a first time playthrough like this where you are just genuinely experiencing the game for what it is, you probably should be doing it blind and not being handheld the entire time.
I'm an interactive streamer as well as a gamer. It's my hobby and my job. It's my job to put out entertaining content. Me struggling with this game because it doesn't explain most of the stuff in it would not be entertaining content. It would just be frustrating for everyone. You want to see me play, enjoy, and fully get this game, right? So do I.
No, watching you fail and fumble about in Baldur's Gate 3 is as entertaining as the playthrough is gonna get, DSP. That's why people are upset that you're getting your hand held. Because bumbling and fumbling around in the game that you don't understand, if you don't understand it, is part of the experience and entertaining in and of itself. I don't understand how you don't know that there's entertainment value in that. And it doesn't have to be the whole time, but instantly getting handheld about things like your build is just not acceptable. You should fumble around for a little bit. You should make an ass out of yourself and pretty pretty much show that you don't know what you're doing. That's part of the fun, and then if you need help after that, go for it, man. But just straight up handholding from the jump is not entertaining whatsoever. It's very boring.
So thank you. Please show up. Please engage. That's how this is going to work, okay? So, I hope it continues. I'm playing it again on Monday. I'm playing it again on Wednesday, okay? I hope people will continue to show up, engage, and support with these streams. And if they do, I have no problem keeping this in the rotation as the most played game. I will play it more than any other game in the rotation as long as it maintains that. However, I am worried about that it's going to become another Divinity 2, where after, 4, 5, 6 streams, all of a sudden, no one's showing up and everyone, already. And again, I don't care about the views, but all you got to do is look at the views of the videos on YouTube.
And how the hell does that make sense? Oh, I don't care about the views on YouTube, but if you just go look at the views on YouTube, they speak for themselves. Then you clearly do care because you're using them as a metric. So why say that you don't care when you clearly do, you jackass?
The first batch, all right, within 24 hours had over 1,000 views, and up to now they have 5,000 plus views, like really good viewership.
Who knew that Bappa was such a numbers guy? I mean, 5K views is pretty good for a DSP video. I mean, he should have significantly more than that, being that he has 200,000 plus subscribers on YouTube. But as we stated, it is a DSP video, so we already know that the view count is going to be low.
The second batch did okay, had around 1,000 views. This next batch barely has hit 300 views per video in almost 24 hours. So already, the interest is gone. You saw the intro, okay, that's it. Well, it's a 100-hour game. It's not a 6-hour intro game. It's a 100-hour game. It's an insane commitment. I hope people are going to commit to stick around and help me out with this playthrough because I want to play this game. Okay?
It goes without saying, but obviously he's not excited to continue playing Baldur's Gate 3. That's not something he's interested in doing.
Also, keep in mind, the more I play it by the end of the year, I can more properly rank this game in my Game of the Year awards, which are coming up. They're coming up probably first week of January. So I have arguably 2 to 3 more weeks to play this game before I do my year-end series. So I need to get as far as I can before then. Okay? There you go.
Well, according to him, it doesn't actually matter how far he gets into the game because he has to beat it in order to put it on one of these lists. That's why he had to beat Starfield and couldn't just get 3/4 of the way through it and call it a day because he didn't like it. I mean, that's just going based off of his very logic. If he wants to backtrack on that now, be my guest, but it makes you a hypocrite and it makes you look foolish. But that's going to do it for this video. Another big shout out to Doody Streams for the clip in this one. I really appreciate it, brother. Of course, shout out to everybody who watched it. I really appreciate it. Special shout out to all of my members. Big ups, y'all. Hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other detractor channels and dive deeper into that. Snortags.